Hello, good morning to you all. I hope you are well today. It's, what day are we on? Is it Wednesday? Wednesday. I'm all out of sync because, of course, we had the bank holiday and therefore it feels like I've not seen you in quite some time. So I hope you are well. It's only been a weekend. I hope you had a nice bank holiday if, of course, you did have one. Today I'm going to be making some Ines herringbone bangles with you today. Now I'm using memory wire, beautiful gemstones and a little bit of 0.4 weaving wire to create the herringbone effect. I've put these together on the silver. However, word was out this morning that Simon has got hold of some gold memory wire. So if you want to do this in a gold colourway version, we've put that together for you as well. And I'm going to demo with that for you today. I think we'll try anyway. Usually when using this, I'm using a 0.8 memory wire, which is a 20 gauge. But the gold is in a 0.6, which is a 20, can't remember, 26 gauge? No, it's not. It's not. Let me check for that for you. I usually have all the gauges in my head to convert. So this is a little bit thinner, but it should work. It should show the versatility of this weave and these bracelets. So in terms of your tools, all I would suggest that you need really is wire straighteners are always good, even for your weaving wire. Round nose pliers, or you could use bail step pliers to turn your loops at the end. And probably what I would suggest most and foremost is your memory wire cutters. Now memory wire is a tempered steel, so it's got a much firmer structure to it. If you're using your delicate wire cutters, you will put little kind of dinks in those, and then you probably ruin your normal wire cutters. So either some heavy duty ones out the toolbox or some specific memory wire pliers is what I would suggest. And I think that's pretty much it, just your hands. So I'm going to say good morning to you. I'm also going to wish Izzy a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you today. 80 today, how absolutely wonderful. It's my Auntie Izzy's birthday tomorrow as well. So lots of birthdays this month. Rachel saying good morning from a cloudy Barrow. Yeah, the sun was trying to come out this morning. It's not raining like it has been over the weekend. It was a bit torrential, really. Good morning to Jean all the way from Chicago. I hope you're well. Peace and love back at you, Anastasia. Camille says, good morning, how are you? I like your posh top. Well, thank you very much. I'm good, thank you. Was in Liverpool on Monday, which obviously was a wonderful day for celebration. And then I'm not sure if any of you have been following the news, but yeah, I wasn't in the parade. I'd gone to watch Hamilton at the theatre, which was very good. I've had a very, very busy month of May. It's been lovely spending time with family and doing arty things and making in between. Good morning to Sheila. How are you, Camille? Are you okay? Good morning to Mina. Hello to Carol. Barbara's in as well, so she's going to catch up on the replay. She really wants to make this. Have a great one, everyone. Thank you so much, Barbara. And hello to you again for later on when you can come and join us. Good morning to Jan. She says, good morning from a bright and breezy Sudbury. Good morning to Yolanda, who said, I hope you had a wonderful, safe holiday. I did, thank you, my darling. Good morning to Jan. She says she's just renewed her memory wire cutters and she's ordered 2 kits. Fabulous. What ones have you ordered? And there she is. There's Izzy. She says, oh, and thank you for the birthday wishes to Natalie. Looking forward to this tutorial. Right, I'm going to take you over to the website. We are, of course, the wonderful totallybeads.co.uk. We are based here in the UK, and you can order your kits and make along with us if you wish to, and we do ship worldwide. Hello to Edward, good morning to Joanne, hello to Rachel. So over we go, and hopefully everything will be working. It's been a bit of a morning so far for me, always the way during half term. So over we go to totallybeads.co.uk. This is the website. Head into the video tutorial section and you'll see today we're doing these beautiful herringbone wire bangles. They are called Ines. Thought it was a pretty name, and you can see these are the ones that I've put together. So we've got a blue aventurine, a fluorite, a labradite, rhodochrosite, and we've got the snowflake obsidian as well. So lots of gorgeous gemstone colours. All of the ones I've done are in the silver. So in the silver, you're getting, I'll show you exactly what you're getting. They will vary in price. That's because the gemstones obviously vary in price. So this one is £9.99, and you are making 2 bangles in each of your kits. So we're going to use the memory wire, this being the 0.8, and then the colour copper wire, which is a 0.4, which is a 26 gauge weaving wire. These are in silver. Of course, you can add in your own gemstones if you want to make one up in gold. We've got those for you as well. So have a little scroll down, you can see what we're doing here. You're going to get lots of loops if you want to buy extra in this. I'm going to use just over 1 full loop, maybe 1 1/4. Obviously it's memory wire, so it expands, so you can, if you want to make this larger. I think for me probably about 9 beads fit me lovely, but I've put in enough so you've got 11 beads in there for each bracelet. So you can extend these as you wish. You also don't have to do the herringbone weave around each one. You could alternate and just add a single bead on and then the herringbone wrap. I'm going to get the memory wire in the 0.8 out as well, just to show you. So if you can hear me rustling, I've got my memory wires a little bit tangled up. So this one is your blue aventurine, really gorgeous colour. I think that would look nice in the gold as well. Of course, you can add whatever gemstones in as well if you wish to do so. We are using an 8mm gemstone for these today. This is the fluorite, which is lovely. It's a rainbow version, so you're going to get your purples, your pinks, your clears, some yellows, some greens, lots of lovely colours in that mix for you. Again, you're making 2 bangles. This one is £12.99. I'm just going to stop faffing about with this. I was all organised this morning, but I've got myself in a tangle. That'll do. Okay, so that is that one for you. Again, if you want to scroll down, you can see how the beads look and the memory wire we're using. We've also got the labradorite, which is beautiful, one of my favourite gemstones. This is £15.99. You're making 2 bangles here, getting everything you need to make those 2 bangles. You can, of course, if you want to, add a little clasp onto this as well. So your labradorite is a gorgeous, gorgeous mineral. It's feldspar mineral. It's got a lovely kind of sheen to it. Sometimes you kind of, it's meant to be like the aurora borealis stone, because sometimes you can get a lovely flash on beads. You probably get a better indication. You can see there's a gorgeous bit of blue flash on that one. But these are kind of like a kind of earthy green type of colour. Each gemstone, of course, not just in each colourway kit, but in each strand is going to probably slightly vary, especially when you're going for the fluorite, because you're getting different colours in that, and your snowflake obsidian has got beautiful like patinations on it, which will vary on each bead as well. This is your rhodochrosite, which I think I'm going to demo with today. It doesn't look as gorgeous and red as it is on this photograph. If you have a little look down there, you can see it's kind of like a mahogany kind of cherry-ish red. And I think that would look lovely with the gold. So that's why I've picked that one out for you today. And that one is £16.99. You are getting 2 bangles of beautiful gemstones in here. And then this is your snowflake. So if I hover over, you'll see you've got that gorgeous pattern in there and a lovely little weave around it. I think this particularly looks nice on the silver, but you could change that up for the gold as well. We are using 8mm gemstone beads, so if you want to get your kit in the gold, you just need to add in your gemstones. So you can buy just the memory wire and the weaving wire for this. Maybe you've got your own beads at home that you're already wanting to use, or you want to do something completely different. You might think, why has she not used, I don't know, amethyst? I want to use some 8mm amethyst. You can use that instead. So they're £3.50 for the little kits of the wire. This is going to be enough again to make 2 bangles. You've got your memory wire and your copper coated wire there as well. So this one is your gold version. and this is your silver. So the gold is going to be a 0.6 memory wire, the silver is going to be a 0.8 memory wire, and the weaving wire is going to be a 0.4 or 26 gauge in both of them. So you can add them to your basket if you wish to as well. In terms of how much weaving wire I'm using, it's going to depend on how many beads that you want to add on. I'm going to be adding about 30 centimetres, which is 12 inches per bead, and that'll give me a little bit left over. So you can adjust that accordingly. So they're your Ines Herringbone wire bangles today. They do vary in price. From as little as £3.50 you can get just the wire, and if you want some gorgeous gemstones they start from £9.99. So that's the admin, that's me playing around with the memory wire on my desk, and hopefully I'll be able to show you them down on the mat. If you've got any questions, please do drop me a comment and I'll do my very, very best to answer. Jan says she's got the blue aventurine and the fluorite. You'll have a lovely time. Good morning, Kath. How you doing? More wire wrapping. Love it. Still not needed doing them. This is foolproof. So let me take you down on the mat and I will show you them. If we can get my camera to work. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days. Why is it always one of those days when I don't need it to be? Please bear with me just a moment while I try and get my camera to play along. Let's just fiddle about the buttons. I think I might need to just keep tapping my screen so it doesn't keep going off. Right, let's see. I can bring that in and bring that up and get my comments back on so I can see what you might be saying. Where's my comments gone? Where are my comments? They are right. Okay, so these are the memory bangles that I did in just going to keep wobbling that screen just to make sure it stays low. Hello Monica, how are you doing? Right, so this is your blue aventurine. Move them out the way. So you can see I'm just making a herringbone wrap around them. Oh, a little bit of focus, please. Why are we not focusing too much? There we go. So you can see how vibrant some of those blues are. They do all vary in terms of your gemstones because they're natural. You've got some lighter ones. So you could pick out if you wanted to kind of make like an ombre effect in terms of your tone, and you could put them around there. We've got the labradorite, which is very pretty. And you might have a little bit of flash of sparkle on some of those as well. We've got this is the rhodochrosite, so you can see the colour on them a little bit better. This is a strand of a few that I've got here. So you can see they've got kind of like a more mahogany kind of look to them. We've got your fluorite, which of course is a mix of colours. So I have kind of chosen where I've placed those beads. I've gone for more clear, purple, yellow, blue, a light purple, a dark purple, and I've just kind of mixed them up where I've chose to place them on the bracelet. You can see my memory wire. This is slightly overlapping, so you can extend that out if you want it for a larger wrist. And again with this one, I've done the same. This one is the snowflake obsidian, so you can see those beautiful patterns. That's a nice clear shot for you. Yolanda, the birthday code was for everyone, but I don't know if it's still running or whether it finished last week. By all means, give it a try. So you can see that gorgeous black and kind of gorgeous little snowflake patternations in there. Good morning, Anne. How are you doing? Monica, in terms of what type of wire I used for these, this is a memory wire and it is a 0.8. do have a gold kit as is in 0.6, which I'm going to try it with today and think that should still be sturdy enough to hold the same design. And in terms of my weaving wire, I'm using a 0.4 to go around. You can see this one that I've got on my wrist, I've made a little bit smaller. I've added in some different gemstones, and I've also added a little clasp in there as well if I wanted to add that security. But the great thing with memory wire is it comes like a slinky. These are just 2 loops linked together, but it is tempered steel. So when I'm cutting, you can see I can expand that out. It's still going to keep that shape. But when I'm cutting, I'm going to use my memory wire cutters. So I'm just going to cut, I would cut personally just over 1 1/4. So you can see where those 2 bits line up. And you can see how easy those cutters make of that wire. So you can see I've just got that little overlap there, and then it will open out if you need to make it larger. I don't necessarily want to have mine larger, so I'm just going to use 1 coil, but I am going to use that 1 coil and add that little extra just so I can turn my loops. So you're going to take your memory wire, which comes like a little slinky, and you're going to cut the length. You can always cut more off if you need to. So I'm just going to get my full circle and then cut that little extra. I want it to kind of keep its shape. I'm then going to take my round nose pliers or my bail step pliers, and I'm just going to turn a little loop on one side. Now I will turn this loop out afterwards, so I'm getting it quite flush to the end, and I'm just going to turn a little loop. You'll find it's probably easier to turn with the 0.6 than it would be with the 0.8. Now this wire here is some that I've had in my stash, and the Totally Beads wire I haven't got yet, but I'm pretty sure that coating is going to stay really nice on it. I do find that the one I've got can flake a little bit, but you're not going to see much of that. But I've just turned that loop, and then I've put my memory wire, my round nose pliers back in just to center it, because I want to have that loop nicely formed and sitting on the end. What I've tended to do is just give a little twist at the end. So this is me with the 0.8 in the silver, just to show that it's still easily done. I'm just going to guide it round with my finger until we've got that kind of P-shaped formed. And then I'm just going to tilt it back, so popping the pliers back in, give it a little knock. And then what I do want to do is I want to give it a little twist. You don't have to, you can change how you have your ends, but I like my ends sitting, so when it's on my wrist, it's sitting flat rather than kind of turning into my wrist. But you can, if you want to, just fold them over at the end so you don't get those loops showing, and you have them hidden underneath that way. So you can turn your loops how you want to. It is nice and stiff, so don't have to worry about it snapping or anything like that, but I would just give it a little turn with my pliers so it's sitting that way. So let's start with my wire. I'm going to use my 0.4 wire. I've got some to hand again. This is from Totally Beads, but I'm using a light gold because it's just what I've had to hand. So I'm going to cut about 30 centimeters, which is about 12 inches. And that I think will do enough for 6 herringbone wraps on each side of my bead, and my bead being 8mm in size. So I'm just going to take a little tail end, and I'm just going to position it over my bangle, and I'm going to bring it through the middle, and I'm going to wrap my wire on to secure by wrapping 3 times. So I'm just making a little coil, which is just going to fit nicely onto there. And then I'm going to take up that tail end that I started with, going to trim it off nice and close. I don't need my memory wire cutters to trim that end off. And then with a pair of pliers, chain nose pliers, whatever you got to hand, just going to make sure we tuck in that end of that wire. There you go. So it's nice and flush. Now when I'm adding my beads on and I'm creating the weave, I'm not starting right up here where there's any overlap because it's just a bit fiddly. I'm going to start in the middle where I've got loads of space, and then I'm just going to slide it on. So I'm going to keep this coil in its form, and I'm going to add on my first bead. So I'm adding on to the side which doesn't have the loop, and then I'm going to take my weaving wire. I do want the weaving wire fairly straight, so I just tend to run it through my fingers, and you can see where the wire is closest to the bead. Doesn't matter if you wrap towards you or away from you, but where the weaving wire is coming out next to the bead, I'm just going to wrap it around the side of the bead, through the middle and over the other side. I then like to flip it over so it's closer to me because it's just easier to work that way for me. And then again, taking that wire just to frame the bead on the other side, through the middle of my bangle and out the other way. So I have a wrap on each side. I'm now going to move again, so I'm just going to flip it over towards me, and where that wire first goes round, I'm going to take this weaving wire and place it just underneath. I'm going to go over to the other side, and again taking that wire so it's just sitting underneath the bead. Just going to tap my screen just to keep me on. So over the side, under and through. And you can do as many wraps as you want with this. I'm going to do 6 on each side. So this is the third one. Just framing the bead around the core of the memory wire, over the other side, still placing it just underneath the last wire. So now there's 3 on both sides. You will get quick at doing this as well. I'm going nice and slow just so you can see. Taking that wire below the last one. Just keep flipping it so you can see. I'm holding it nice and gently, just the bead between my fingers. So I should have 4 wraps. 5 wraps. And you can count them if you need to. Just want to make sure it's even. And then my last wrap, still working the same, going round one side and round the other. So I'm just placing that wire around. And then to finish off, I'm going to wrap twice. Once, twice, just around the core of the wire. I'm then going to trim off the tail end, fairly close, but when I tuck it in, I want it to finish, if I can, on the outside of the bracelet. You can see how I've made that really pretty herringbone wrap. Then all I need to do is slide the bead down towards the end of the bracelet where that loop's formed. And again, just make sure after you've slid it into place that that little tail end is secured. And then on with the next one. So each time I am wrapping for an 8mm bead, I'm using about 12 inches, which is 30 centimeters of my 0.4 26 gauge weaving wire. I like to straighten it out. You can see there's a little kink in it there. So I'm just gonna straighten it out with my nylon coated pliers. Doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it's going to create a much neater weave if I haven't got the kinks in that wire. Camille saying I loved making the herringbone wrap. It's very effective and I learnt it from you. Brilliant. Well, I didn't invent it, but I do like doing it. So again, taking that tail end, I tend to just place it over the top, give myself something to hold on to. When I'm making these securing wraps, I just want the wire to sit next to the last one. And I always anchor my wire on with 3 wraps just to secure. I can then move out that tail end that I had hold of. Come in with my cutters just to trim the tail end off. And again, tuck it down. When I start to make my wraps, it will cover this bit. So the only wrap that you will have will be this part here when we tie it onto the end. And that will mean if I'm doing 2 wraps on each one to finish, that will create an even spacing between each of my beads. So on with my next bead. You can see I'm not opening up that wire too much. I'm just keeping that coil in shape, sliding on the next bead. I'm looking at what direction that wire is falling, so it's coming towards me here. And I'm just pushing it up against the bead, just to wrap around, bringing that wire the other side. You don't have to flip it round, the beads will move as well, so you can tilt it towards you so you can see what you're doing. You can see that first wrap round here, it's just going to go over that weaving wire that we placed on to anchor it into position. Bringing it all the way round again, so I'm back on the other side, taking the wire slightly underneath that first. So each time we bring the wire round, we're just placing it underneath the last wrap on the other side. Keep bringing it through the middle. And you see I just tend to straighten the wire back out as I go. So that's my second wrap. Third. On both sides. Again, you can add as many wraps as you want to, or as little as you want. This being the fourth. Fourth on the other side. So it's starting to build those layers up. I suppose it looks a bit like fish bones maybe, hence why it's got the name herringbone. But I just find by turning it towards me, just placing the wire, not fighting with it, not doing anything too technical, just anchoring it on either side of the bead. When I've got the 6 wraps on both sides, I'm wrapping once, I'm wrapping twice, just to secure, cutting off that tail end, and then pinching it in. We want the end of the wire to kind of finish on the outside of the bracelet if possible. Just run your finger over it and make sure it's nice and flush so you've got nothing sharp on scratching. I mean, you can do it if you wanted with just one focal bead. That would look really pretty as well if you want to expose that wire. And then we're sliding it up towards the next one. So it's just giving me lots of space to work by moving into the middle. And then that's my second bead. So it is nice and repetitive, a nice easy make to do. It looks more complicated than it is, and I don't think you can go too wrong with it. If you really don't like it, you can just take your weaving wire off. It's just the weaving wire really that is doing all the work here, and you're going to get loads of weaving wire. It is a copper wire, so it's really malleable, nice and soft, which is the weaving wire. Your memory wire is, of course, a tapered steel, so it holds its shape, it holds its memory, and it's made of tougher stuff. So anchoring on my wire and pinching that in, adding on my next bead. So getting it into position, Doesn't matter if this moves along, you can move it wherever you want to. It's just so you've got space to work. I'm going to bring it around the bead. I want it quite snug around the bead. So you can see I just kind of push it in with my fingers, just so I've got that secure. And then as soon as it comes through the centre of the memory wire and back to the other side, it's anchored into place, the wire. You know I can still move that bead. Flipping it round, just to do the other side. So I've got that wire framed now on either side. Bringing it underneath. If I turn the bangle round, then I can see where I'm placing that wire. And then after the second wrap, just making sure it's sitting underneath. I'm not really doing much at all with it, other than just bringing it to the other side. It will just automatically kind of shape the bead. So I'm holding it nice and gently, just guiding that wire so you can pull it down a little bit if need be, just so it's going to sit nicely underneath the next. So this is my fourth wrap. I'm not really counting, to be honest, but if I ever think, well, where am I up to? I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the fifth. I just count those lines in the wire. This one's the fifth. And then one more to finish off. If you want to add more weaves, then just cut a longer length of wire. And you can just keep going with that. You could also alternate the sizes of your wrap, so you've got that kind of change in size as well. Just bringing those coils neatly next to each other. Bringing the wire nice and close, cutting off the tail end, just keep hold of that tail end. And tuck that wire down, slide it across to the next bead. So you can see how quickly it forms. And this works exactly the same, whichever colour that you're using, whether you're going to go for the silver or you're going to go for the gold. I only need a tiny little tail end just to anchor it on. I tend to wrap towards me, but I suppose it just depends on the day, to be honest. Just flicking that little tail end up that I started with, just so I can get that weave nice and snugly next to each other. Trimming off, tucking in. Adding on my next bead. Morning Lisa, how are you doing? So I'm bringing it round. You can also adjust these as well if you want to. If you want to flatten them out a little bit more, you can adjust gently with your pliers. Or if you need to tighten them up, you can kind of pinch them together as well. Bringing it down underneath that last wire. I'll try and speed up a little bit. So in your kits, I've put 11 beads on each of your bangles, which should make, more than large enough. If you want to take a couple off, you could do it with 9, and then you've got 2 beads left over to make a little pair of earrings. And you can do this design on anything. I've done them on pins before, They do make really lovely earrings. But you're going to get enough in your kits today to make 2 bangles. So more than enough weaving wire and more than enough memory wire and plenty of beads. I stopped counting, but I'm guessing, given where I'm up to with my length of wire, if I've caught it right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this should be the 6th on that side, just to make it nice and even. Otherwise it might look a little bit lopsided if I've got more wraps on one side than the other. Wrapping round twice, trimming off nice and close, and tucking in, and then sliding on down. Oh, Izzy, you'll be absolutely fine. She says, you make it look so easy. I hope I can get this looking as professional as yours. Yeah, honestly, it is. I mean, I've done it quite a little bit because I do find it a really nice detail to add to your beads. So I am quite practiced with it, but I don't really think you can go too wrong with it. And if you really don't like it, you just take the weaving wire back off. You know, this is holding the shape and the frame. And I do like using memory wire. I think, you know, traditionally it's used as like a long wrap that goes up your arm, which makes a really lovely look. But I think when you're wanting something sturdy, you know, if you don't like smith and you want to kind of bangle, it's hard to get the right kind of temper of the metal, the right hardness to hold that shape and form. So having the memory wire does that work for you. And of course, doing the herringbone wrap, as I say, you can do this on so many designs. You could do it into rings. You can make earrings with it. I've made necklaces with it before. It just adds that little bit of embellishment to each bead. I'm guessing that's my Frank. I've got, hi mum, I like your jewellery. Hello sweetheart. Hope you're being a good boy. He's on half term at the moment, so Nanny's and Grandad today is being very good looking after him. Thank you so much. So that is the 4th. And obviously the longer, like slower you go with it, the neater it's going to be. I'm going quite quick because just for time purposes, really. I think once you've seen me do one, you've seen me do them all. Nothing changes between each bead. I'm also not counting anymore. I'm just gauging it by the length of my wire. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see there's a tiny little gap there. You can just compress it if you need to, or if you wanted to, you could take your pliers and just flatten it out a little bit if need be. So I'm going to secure that wrap by just wrapping twice close to that last herringbone kind of wire that's coming out. Trimming off, tucking in and sliding across. I'll do a couple more and then I'll show you how to finish. So in terms of finishing, I'm just going to turn my loops in and just leave it as that, and that way, you know, you've got that bangle shape that holds, but it's adjustable because it stretches out and still retains that circular shape. If you really wanted to, put a clasp on this one, just a little magnetic clasp, and I just attach that directly through the loops at the end. You could add a lobster clasp. I don't think you need it. You don't need a clasp, but I just added it on just because I thought it was a pretty cloud, look nice. But then you've got that extra safety feature. When you're securing that wire, you can put it over the top. You can even put it underneath if you want to. So this time I'm kind of wrapping that way. Again, it really doesn't matter. What I will do though is I will just twist it around so the wire's finishing on top. So I'll just show you if you've wrapped the other way. Sometimes if you ever watch a tutorial, if someone wraps in the opposite direction or is like left-handed and you're right-handed or vice versa, it can confuse, well, it can confuse me. All I want to do is I kind of want to make sure that the wire is close to it. You can see now the wire is now sitting where the wraps are closer to the beads. Doesn't really matter. I'm just going to push it up so the wraps are inside of the bead in the drill hole really, so that wire is still nice and close. And it goes around. So that's my second. Straighten the wire out a little bit as I go, just by running it through my fingers. I'm not running it through any wire straighteners. It's nice and soft and malleable. Bringing it back over the top so it can go around the opposite side. Just keep flipping it towards me so I can see the placement of that wire. You are, I suppose, as well warming that wire up by running it through your fingers, so that makes it a little bit softer as well to work with. But this is dead soft wire, so you can just, all I'm doing is just placing it where I want it to be. I'm not even counting my wraps now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Wrap in twice. And again, you can wrap more as well in between. All that's going to do is just increase slightly the distance between one bead from the next. So those little wraps to finish. Oh, have I gone off? Oh, I'm so sorry. When did I go off? Oh, the screen. Please bear with me. I get so engrossed in what I'm doing, I'm not even looking, so I might not even be in shot, or my camera might not be on. I hope that wasn't off for long. Naughty camera. You're still with me, so that's a good thing. Let me get back into the comments. Can you see what I'm doing? I forgot to tap my screen. I don't know why it does that. Sometimes it doesn't and sometimes it does. It just times itself out. Right, so just to recap on what we are doing, this is the Ines, I-N-E-S, Herringbone memory wire bangles. I'm using a memory wire, which is a tempered steel for the frame of the bangle. If I'm using the silver, it's a 0.8, but today we have gold in stock, so trying to match what Simon has and the warehouse at Totally Beads has with what I had in my stash today, so I could just show you that different colour variation, and that is a 0.6 in the gold. You can see it's still working exactly the same as the 0.8. It's slightly thinner in terms of the gauge of the wire. If you can see a slight difference there, but it's still strong enough to hold its shape and to hold the beads. The beads I'm using are Gemstone beads, and they are 8mm in size. You can, of course, if you wanted to, go up a size or down a size of bead. You would just need to adjust the length of your wire, or in regards to how many wraps that you've got. The wire that I'm using to wrap and create the herringbone weave is a 0.4 wire, which is a 26 gauge wire. This is a gold plated copper, which matches my memory wire. We also have it in the silver version if you were to get your kits today, and that is also a 0.4. That doesn't change in terms of the colour. You could, if you wanted, you could do this in a different gauge, you weave in a different gauge. I've done it in a 0.3, which is finer, and that will just give it more of a fine look. You could go up again for a 0.5 and that would give it a little bit of a thicker look. I think the 0.4 is just right, because you want to be able to see the detail on those weaves that you're creating. It's going to be nice and strong as well because it's shaped around the bead, so you don't have to worry too much about that kind of, losing its shape. Let's have a little count. Don't know if I've done 7 on that one. It doesn't matter too much, does it? They're there or thereabout. When I was making my samples, I was hugely precise. Now I'm just like, it'll do. I've got 10 minutes left, so I don't know whether I've got 3 more beads I think I could do with adding. So I want to get that bangle at least to meet. So I will speed up a little bit. Do let me know if you've got any questions. Thanks, Rachel. Said you only just froze, so you're okay. I don't know why it does it. So you can see now I'm coming to kind of the end of the bangle. It's very easy to still just add it as underneath this one. If you do want that slight overlap, don't forget, although it might overlap when it's off your wrist, if you've got a wider wrist, it's just going to sit next to each other, just open out more. It's going to hold that lovely shape. So let's get going. I'm going to just hold it over the top. But that's not essential, but that's the way I prefer to work, because then my wire is coming down and it will be closer to the bead. Flicking back up that little anchor point that I started with and trimming off. You don't need to worry that you're going to trim through the memory wire if you're just using your normal cutters, because it is quite strong. But just do be mindful that you are just cutting your weaving wire, because you don't want to put any like dinks and marks in it, even though you can't see any of the memory wire really when it's finished, only the end loop. So moving that around, framing the bead, bringing the wire underneath the last one and across to the other side. So it just goes over once over that memory wire, around the bead, over the top of the memory wire, so that little row is sitting above the next one, through the middle, and back over to the other side, so it's ready to just go around the bead on the next side. Fourth, fifth, and for this I'm just doing 6 wraps on each side. I want to make sure that that wire is coming underneath where it's placed, just placing it on top of that next wrap above, round underneath the wire, above that last herringbone, and then a couple of wraps just to secure and finish in place. Tuck down, always tuck down, because we don't want any scratchy bits. We don't want it catching on our clothes. And then just slide your bead back up into place. Yes, Izzy, it definitely would work with 2 different size beads. I think that would look lovely. So Izzy suggested that you can alternate in terms of the size of the beads. You could do a 6 and an 8. You could do an 8 and a 10. You would just need to increase, I think, your weaving wire. I'd still probably do 6 wraps on each side, or the same amount of wraps on each bead on each side, if that makes sense. But yeah, you could definitely alternate the size of the beads. You could do whatever you want with this design. It's very, very versatile. And I kind of wanted to show you today, not just using the different colour, but also the different gauge of the memory wire as well. It is a very versatile design. Just going to give that little pinch in. Not that you'll see any of those wraps, but I want them to be nice and neat, close to each other. So sliding my bead on. Let's do this nice and quick. I'm already going to move that basically up to where it's going to be, because I don't want to get it to catch on that loop there. Going around the bead. So just hold it in place with your finger and your thumb. I mean, by the time you've got to your 6th bead, let alone your 10th, your 9th or your 11th or whatever you're using, you'll have this absolutely down and mastered. I have made some gorgeous earrings with this design, and I've used different shape beads as well. I think the first time I did the herringbone weave, I was using like crystal drops, so they were like pear shapes. So you can use various different shapes of beads. You can definitely use different sizes of beads. You can use different gauges of wire. But if you want to make along with exactly what I'm doing today, by all means, check out the Totally Beads website. Have a little look in our video tutorials. This one's called Ines, and you can get your kit, and each kit's going to make 2 bracelets. So you've probably got enough for 2 bracelets, and if you've got some beads left over, then you can, of course, make little earrings or something. And again. Oh, this is driving me nuts. Are we on? Hello? I am on. I've not frozen. We lost connection. I don't know what's going on. I've got Frank and loads of kisses. Are you still there? Hide comment. I don't know how to hide the comment. Oh, it's been a day. No sound. Can you hear me? Right, I'm going to finish off. Are we going to leave it as it is? Hopefully you can hear me. Can someone let me know if you can hear me? Right, so to finish off, when you've got the amount of beads, I'm happy to have it at this size. If you want to, you can add more on. Of course, that's gonna, there's a full delay, that's gonna stretch. Thanks, Jan. All I'm gonna do is turn my next loop, so I don't need all that space. I need, I would say, about 1 centimetre, just like I'm turning a loop usually. So I'm just going to cut off any excess that I might not want using my memory wire cutters. I'm then going to take my round nose pliers and I'm going to turn a loop. Now I like to turn in the direction of the memory wire, so it's curling in. So I'm just going to go to curl in. So I'm just going to take my round nose or my pliers, and then I'm just going to straighten it up so we've got that nice shape. And you can then, if you want to, turn your loops so they're facing inwards or outwards. You just want them to be roughly the same size. So again, if I'd done it on the 0.8, I would get the size that I want. I'm just going to turn my loop. So I'm just holding it again. I'm just going to go in the direction, just showing you this so you can see it works on both gauges of wire. I'm going to move all the way around with my pliers so that loop is touching itself. And then I'm just popping in my pliers to face back in that direction. So you can have your loops sitting this way, or you can then take your pliers, hold over the loop and twist it into shape. There you go. So you can have it sitting outwards. And then if you wanted to, you can attach a clasp on or whatever you like. I'm so sorry that it's been a bit higgledy today. A quick recap. These are the Ines bracelets. You've got the beautiful snowflake obsidian. You've got a blue aventurine to choose from, a labradorite, which has got a lovely kind of green sheen to it. We've got a rainbow fluorite, so you've got different colours of your beads in there. And the one I've demoed today is the rhodochrosite. These in the kits come on silver and they vary in price. Or you can get your gemstone beads from the website or use your stash and you can pay, I think it was it £3.50? The £3.50 was just for the memory wire and the weaving wire, which was the 0.4, which we can do in a little bundle for you for silver and gold coloured wire. And then you just need to add on your own gemstones. So by all means, check out the website and have a little look. Thank you so much for being with me today. And look at that, bang on 11 as well. Let me just check I've not missed any comments. People being very nice and forgiving, saying that they can hear me. Just Me says, thank you for another helpful, inspiring tutorial. Your wire work's always beautiful. Thank you, Just Me. That's very kind of you. Jan says, gorgeous make. The birthday girl Izzy says, lovely, can't wait to try it now. Rachel says, beautiful make. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. Slight change to the schedule for me for next week. I'm here on the usual days, but in terms of my makes, I was going to do some earrings with you, but we've swapped them around a bit. And now I can't remember. We only swapped it this morning. I think I'm going to be doing some bracelets with you. I think I'm going to be doing some elastic bracelets with you on it is Wednesday today, isn't it? Yeah, on Monday. I don't know where I am. If you can come and join me on Monday next week, I'll be doing something fun with you. Nice, easy make. Melissa says, I can hear you. This bracelet is very interesting. She's going to get an order, I think. Thank you for sharing your skills. Melissa, you are most welcome. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for being patient with me. Lisa says, very pretty bangle. They're really, really versatile. They're really fun to make. If you do make them, I'd love to see what you do. If you can share it on our Totally Beads handmade page, I'd love to see what you've been making. You can always tag me in it as well, and then I get a little nosy. And if you do something completely different with it, then by all means share that too, because you might help inspire other people. So I'm wishing you a wonderful week, a lovely, lovely weekend, and I will see you next week if you can join me then. Take care, everyone. Bye.